Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our February 4th, 2016 regular monthly meeting of the school board for Danville Public Schools. I will call the meeting to order and ask that the roll be called.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Bryant?
Here.
Dr. Campbell?
Present.
Ms. Hall?
Here.
Ms. Hughes?
Here.
Dr. Polhamus?
Here.
Mr. Gould?
Here.
You have an agenda in front of you. What is your pleasure?
Chair, move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Dr. Campbell with a second from Ms. Jones to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, then let's call the roll, please.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Dr. Polhamus?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Now for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, if you would join me, please. Lord, we pause before the start of this meeting this evening to ask for your blessing upon each and every one of us and each and every one of our employees, and especially each and every one of the children whom we strive to serve. We pray that you will give us understanding to recognize the issues before us, that you will grant us wisdom to see what is going to be best for the children, that you give us courage to step forward boldly to accomplish good things. We pray also for the entire community with so many things that get negative attention. We hope and pray that folks will recognize that good things also are happening in this place. Be with us now and forevermore. In the name of the most holy of holies, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Next up on the agenda will be the approval of our minutes from the month of January. You have minutes from the January 7th regular monthly meeting and the January 12th joint meeting with the City Council of Danville and the minutes of the January 21st work session. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the minutes as presented. Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Hall with a second from Ms. Hughes to approve the three sets of minutes. Any discussion? Then please call the roll.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Dr. Polhamus?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
We have several very important recognitions this evening. We will start with the recognition of Black History Month, and at her request, Ms. Sharon Dones will be reading the resolution. Ms. Dones.
Proclamation Black History Month. Whereas in 1976, Black History Month was formally adopted to honor and affirm the importance of Black history throughout our American experience. And whereas the history of people of African heritage goes back thousands of years and includes some of the greatest, most advanced, and innovative societies in the history of human existence. And whereas African Americans have played a significant role in the history of the United States from the early days of the pioneers to our present-day leaders in such industries as aerospace, finance, government, and international trade. And whereas Black History Month is a time for all Americans to reflect on the rich history and teachings of African Americans whose contributions are vast and wide. And whereas during Black History Month, All Americans are encouraged to reflect on the rich history and teachings of African Americans and bear witness to the progress, beauty, and achievements they have made throughout our region. Now, therefore, the Danville School Board does hereby proclaim the month of February 2016 to be Black History Month in the Danville Public Schools. We encourage the celebration of the collective ingenuity, creativity, cultures, and traditions of African Americans and encourage participation in educational events honoring the contribution of Black Americans. Signed this 21st day of January 2016, Dr. Edward C. Polhamus, Jr., Chairman, Stanley B. Jones, ED, Superintendent.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jones. And I would like to make the audience aware that at least one of our schools has a long tradition of a major celebration of Black History Month. They actually use the auditorium at George Washington High School for an elementary school program. I believe that's coming up on Monday the 16th?
Correct, at 6 o'clock.
Monday the 16th at 6 p.m. The public is invited. I think you will be very pleased with the kinds of presentations they do that evening. We now move to National School Counseling Week, and at her request, Mrs. Hall will be reading that proclamation.
Thank you, Dr. Polhamus. Proclamation, National School Counseling Week. Whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential. And whereas school counselors are committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as their traits relate to career awareness and development. And whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children. And whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves. And whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Danville School Board recognizes February 1 through 5, 2016 as National School Counseling Week. Signed this 21st day of January 2016 by Dr. Edward C. Polhamus, Jr., Chairman, and Stanley B. Jones, our Superintendent.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hall. Do we happen to have any of our school counselors in the audience this evening? Well, we will certainly recognize them, and I trust that the principals in the audience will help extend to them our gratitude for all the good things that they do as a necessary and vital part of the educational process. We now move to School Board Appreciation Month. At his request, Dr. Philip Campbell would like to read the resolution.
School Board Appreciation Month, whereas the mission of public schools is to meet the diverse educational needs to all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic and ever-changing world. Whereas local school board members are committed to children and believe that all children can be successful learners and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of the child. Whereas local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to make our educational vision a reality for our students. Whereas local school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure and provides a solid foundation for our school system. Whereas the local school board members are strong advocates for public education, are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and vice versa. I therefore, Terri McAuliffe, do hereby recognize February the 16th, February 2016 as the School Board Appreciation Month in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I call this observance to the attention of all our citizens.
Thank you very much, Dr. Campbell, and thanks to the governor for providing that recognition. I believe that our superintendent, Dr. Jones, has something to go along with that.
Yes, I do. I have just an expression of appreciation and a certificate from the Virginia School Board Association for each board member, and I'll hand those out now. Ms. Bryant, thank you for your service. Dr. Campbell, thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, sir. There was some money in it.
You'd have to report it if there were. Ms. Davis, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Gould, thank you for your service, sir.
Card or something. What's wrong with you mistaken?
Ms. Hughes, thank you for your service. Cards are sticking together. Four hands. Ms. Paul, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
And Dr. Polhamus, certainly, thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
We now move to School Board Clerk Appreciation Week, and at his request, the superintendent, Dr. Jones, is going to recognize not one, not two, but 3 clerks who have served us faithfully in the past 12 months. Dr. Jones.
Thank you. School Board Clerk Appreciation Week proclamation. Whereas school board clerks in each locality throughout our great Commonwealth are appointed by law to fulfill their duties and responsibilities, and whereas school board clerks are responsible for keeping accurate records of the meetings and proceedings of the school board, a record of all recipients, receipts and disbursements, and a record of all official acts, and whereas school board clerks perform such duties in connection with school board business in his or her county or city as may be required by the school board, and whereas school board clerks maintain frequent contact with the public, including parents, employees, and the media on behalf of the school board and the superintendent, and whereas school board clerks in the performance of their duties are often required to work extra hours attending school board meetings, and whereas school board clerks join with school boards to help ensure that students achieve their highest potential, and whereas school board clerks provided an invaluable service for school boards and superintendents, and whereas school board clerks are indispensable in notifying and scheduling school board members for their training and development needs, the Virginia School Board Association Board of Directors does hereby recognize the 3rd week of February as School Board Clerk Appreciation Week in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and whereas the Danville School Board joins the Virginia School Board Association in recognizing the many and varied contributions of school board clerks. Now therefore be it resolved that at its meeting on the 21st day of January 2016, the Danville School Board recognizes the 3rd week of February as School Board Clerk Appreciation Week. Signed, Edward C. Polhamus, Dr. Edward C. Polhamus, Chair, and Stanley Jones, Superintendent. And I have for each of our clerks just a certificate and an expression of appreciation. And I will begin with Ms. Powell. Good to see you, Chief. Ms. Jackson. Thank you. And Ms. Allison Petty.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jones. And the full board is certainly aware of the difficult assignment that the clerk and the deputy clerk have. And we know that we sometimes put any of these three through the ringer, trying to keep up with all of our requests, but we do very much appreciate all the efforts that you put into it and your tireless devotion. Thank you all three. We now move to the Career and Technical Education Month, as recognized by the governor, and we thought it most appropriate to have Ms. Jackie Rochford come and read that proclamation from the governor and tell us a little bit about what's happening these days in career and technical education.
Thank you. Seems like a popular month for
Yes.
doesn't it? By virtue of the authority vested by the Constitution of Virginia in the Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, there is hereby officially recognized Career and Technical Education Month. Whereas economic and technological changes in our society are rapidly reflected in the structure and nature of today's workplace, thereby placing new and additional responsibilities on our educational system. And whereas career and technical education provides students with a career pathway for post-secondary education and workplace readiness, and is the foundation of a strong, well-educated workforce which fosters productivity in business and industry and contributes to Virginia's leadership in the international marketplace. And whereas career and technical education gives students experience in practical and meaningful applications of basic skills such as reading, writing, and mathematics, thereby improving the quality of their education. And whereas career and technical education offers individuals lifelong opportunities to learn new skills that provide them with more career choices, expanded earning potential, and greater satisfaction. And whereas the cooperative and ever-increasing efforts between career and technical educators, administrators, and representatives of business and industry stimulate the growth and vitality of our Commonwealth's economy by preparing students for careers in high demand, high wage, and highly technologically skilled areas in a global economy. And whereas this year's theme, Opportunities for Career Success, demonstrates the crucial role that career and technical education plays in readying our students for successful careers. Now, therefore, I, Terrence R. McAuliffe, do hereby recognize February 2016 as Career and Technical Education Month in our Commonwealth of Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of all citizens. Career and Technical Education annually serves in grades 9 through 12, approximately 1,000 of our students. That means most of our high school students are taking at least one career and technical education program. I wanted to report a couple things. First, kind of hot off the press, we got our annual performance summary. Career and technical education is expected each year to evaluate how our students are doing. Are they meeting the academic attainments in reading and math? On the skills attainment, are they meeting 80% of the competencies? And are they passing and taking industry certifications? Are they graduating from high school and completing secondary school? How are they transitioning from career and technical education and graduation into college and the workplace? Our non-traditional career preparation. Are we getting enough students entering or taking courses in non-traditional careers? So males in nursing or females in our technology programs. And how are those non-traditional students going? I'm pleased to say that we met all but one of those performance standards. The one we did not meet, we're a little low in, is our secondary placement. That's transitioning to the workplace and to college. We're like about 1.5% below. We can certainly look at our economy, but that's not what we're going to look at. What we're going to look at are ways that we can really encourage our students to take that next step and not just kind of
say, I'm going to college, but then get out and not do what they need to do or not get into the workplace. And next Friday, we have mock interview day, where we will be interviewing all of our CTE seniors. It's one of the pieces that we think is important to prepare them. So we invite you to come by the CTE building and look at some of the mock interviews. It's really exciting. We'll have over, I think we have 36 community people coming in and interviewing almost 200 CTE seniors. So that's really exciting. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is that industry credential attainment is a big part of what we do right now. We spend a lot of time doing industry certification testing. Recently I've been looking at our current students still in high school, and how many of them have passed one or more industry certifications. And we had 608 of our current students take one or more industry certifications, and to date, 489 of those have earned one or more credentials. That's over 80%. To give you some idea, we in Career and Technical Ed, if a student is completing a 2-year concentration in one of the career areas, obviously something like auto mechanics, but also if you're in 2 years in family and consumer science, 2 years in JROTC, 2 years in a technology program that matches up together, you will be given a test. We don't give all of our students the test. To give you an idea in a year, to really give you an idea of what we had 542 industry certifications earned by students in 2014-15, many earning more than one, and they're in a variety of areas. I would be glad to provide more information, but I know you have a busy agenda, so unless you have questions, I won't go in more detail. But we're testing a lot of people are being successful, and as we move into perhaps some new areas we've been talking about, we'll be offering even more industry certification testing in those areas.
Very good. Thank you so much, Ms. Rochford. I would suggest that you might want to put the data on the specific industry certifications in an email and get it to the board. I think we would be very eager to see the numbers.
Okay, be glad to do that.
Thank you very much. All right, we now move to the section of our agenda that allows for public comments to be made. Just before the meeting started, I checked the sign-up sheet and there was no one who had signed up, but we will not let that prevent an individual from speaking. But first, we will ask Ms. Petty if she would read the rules for our public comment time.
The public comments agenda item offers an opportunity for the board to hear directly from Danville citizens on matters of school interest. The board's responsibility is to hear a speaker's item of interest, make any clarification necessary for board understanding, and then assign school staff to investigate and report back to the board. In hearing public comment, it is important that the board respect personnel and confidentiality requirements. Therefore, naming of individuals and/or discussion of actions or performance of individuals will not be allowed. When confidential matters need to be discussed, an arrangement can be made through the superintendent's office for the board to hear that information in closed session.
Thank you so much. So is there anyone who would like to address the board this evening? All right, seeing none, we shall close the public comment section and move to a report from the Human Resources Department. Coretta Lipscomb will be leading this on gateway health screenings.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I apologize up front for my voice. In November 2015, Danville Public Schools employees had the opportunity to participate in our second round of health screenings through Gateway Health's Healthy Solutions program. As with last January screenings, it was a superior opportunity for employees to learn their personal health statistics, as well as ways to maintain or improve their health. Our Gateway representatives are with us again to provide you a brief overview of our health screening process, as well as to recognize the Danville Public Schools location with the greatest percentage of participation in the screenings and the location with the most improved participation percentage. Tonight we have with us Ann Moore-Sparks, who is Danville Public Schools' client account representative, and Monica Cruz, the Director of Medical Management Programs. Before they come forward, however, I would like to recognize those screening participants who were winners of the wonderful prizes that Gateway pledged to assist with the promotion of last fall's health screenings. Prizes included 2 Fitbit fitness trackers. I didn't win that, but I got one for Christmas. 2 bicycles, 5 one-year memberships to the YMCA, 1 $500 and 1 $1,000 Visa gift card. I didn't win that. Board member Ms. Renee Hughes assisted with the drawings, and we certainly thank her for that. Although the prizes were awarded prior to winter break, I wanted to recognize publicly the winners who came out tonight, and I will ask them to please stand if they're in the audience tonight. The winners of the Fitbit fitness trackers were Ms. Brittany Lambert, a teacher, and Shannon Hutchins, a personal care assistant. Both of them were at Woodbury Hills. And I have to say, some of the winners did email me and told me that they could not be here this evening, but the winners of the bicycles were Andrea Emerson, teacher at Galileo, and Andrea Pointer, reading interventionist at Woodbury. There were 5 one-year YMCA memberships given, and those winners were Crystal Fallen, teacher at Gibson, Elizabeth Plyler and Melissa Bray, both teachers at Johnson, Robin Haynes, a school bus driver in the transportation department, and Sydney Lipscomb, reading interventionist at Woodbury. She's not here because she's in class. The winner of the $500 Visa gift card was Marion Lewis, an instructional paraprofessional at Bonner. And the grand prize winner, which was a $1,000 Visa gift card, was Jeanette Cañete at George Washington High School. Again, I'd like to congratulate them and all DPS employees who participated in the health screenings and or who see a physician regularly for preventive and routine care. For it is our hope that through their screening results, regular physician visits, and commitment to better health, that they will accomplish all of their health goals, and together we can become a healthier school division. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Gateway.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And thank you so much again for allowing us to give you a brief overview and present this award on tonight. So Chairman Dr. Polhamus and members of the school board, again, my name is Monica Cruz. I'm Director of Medical Management Programs for Gateway Health. And your screenings this year, we had fairly good participation. Your screenings consisted of on-site height, weight, BMI, blood pressure measurement, cholesterol panel, and glucose, as well as on-site counseling on those results. Gateway performed 2 screenings per day during the time frame from November the 4th through November the 24th. As Ms. Lipscomb already shared with you, Gateway Health increased the number of prizes that we awarded to your members in an effort to increase your overall participation rate. The members that participated, we had very good feedback regarding our screening process, the professionalism of our staff, the knowledge of our staff, and they were very excited about the giveaways. I have to say a special thank you to Dr. Jones, to Ms. Coretta Liston, who worked so well with us, and to all of your wellness champions who played a vital role in the success of the screenings. Some of the champions even offered additional incentives to increase the participation at their schools. So they really took ownership of it. So now it gives me a great pleasure to present to you the highest participation rate again this year goes none other than to the maintenance department. Mr. Bridges, on behalf of Gateway Health, we truly thank you for all of your efforts and steering everyone to participate in the screenings. So again, this year you get an opportunity to display your plaque as well as you have bragging rights for a year.
We have empty space. This will go between last year's award and the one we're reading.
Fall 2015 Excellence Award winner for achieving the highest health screening participation rate. Congratulations to the maintenance department.
Oh, look at that. Yay.
Thank you again for allowing us to present tonight. Thank you again.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Cruz and Ms. Sparks. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate the collaborative effort between Gateway and Danville Public Schools. We trust it will serve all of our employees and the whole community by reference in a very positive way to make us all a healthier community. Very fine. And I trust the maintenance department knows how to fill in a work order to get those things hung. Okay, so we now move to what promises to be the real highlight of this evening, on top of all the other very positive things. And we will invite to the podium Ms. Kim Agner from Gibson Elementary School to give us some instructional highlights.
Good evening, Dr. Polhamus and board members, Dr. Jennings. We thank you for the opportunity to come and present to you this evening. This is my assistant principal, Mrs. Logan. And we are very proud to say that we have a unique opportunity at Gibson Elementary. We have been in existence for approximately 2.5 years now. And since day one, we've had an excellent facility in our greenhouse. We have a cooperative program with the Master Gardeners through a cooperative extension. They come to our school, and there are some photos going up behind you. They come to our school and work this year with our 3rd grade students, and this is part of our STEM initiative. We want to offer our students the opportunity for hands-on learning. We now have students who understand where vegetables come from, and it doesn't originate in the grocery store. We also have opportunities for our children to give back to our community. We were fortunate enough to be granted money from the Whole Kids Foundation last year, and we have a thriving outside garden. And our children plant those seeds, work the soil, and harvest the vegetables, and they have the opportunity to eat them. And they also have given gifts to God's storehouse and to various neighbors in our community. They love playing in the dirt. Their favorite opportunity is we do have an earthworm garden, and we grow earthworms, and they love them. And we also have a compost pile, and they have learned what that means. We work with them extensively on sustainable resources and how they can give back to their communities as well as sustain their own families. So we want to thank you for the opportunity, and we invite you to our greenhouse at any time. We will have a sale in the spring, and our profits go back into our greenhouse so that our children can continue to learn and to grow. We have worked this year to increase our STEM program, and we work in collaboration with our language arts teachers for our writing initiative. Part of the deal is every time they go to the greenhouse, they have to write about it when they come back in. And they enjoy that. And we would encourage you to come by and visit us. And we also brought with us tonight gifts for you. So you each will have a plant tonight. And if you have trouble getting them to stay green, just bring them back. And our children will be glad to help you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Bravo.
They do legs.
You mentioned that there will be a sale in the spring.
Yes, sir.
Would you list some of the items that will be available at the sale?
We have a wide variety of plants. We begin sometime around St. Patrick's Day, and we have aloe plants. We also have, we just have a variety of things. All of our plants are given to us. We've gotten donations from Raywood, also from Lowe's and Home Depot. We plant seeds, but we also go around and take clippings from people's offices and classrooms. And we try to teach them that they can do things with whatever resources they have available.
Right.
But please do come by at any time, and we'll be glad to give you a tour. Our third grade students go out and have lessons taught to them by the master gardeners, as do our special needs students.
Wonderful. Ms.
I
Bryant?
wanted to ask a question. You mentioned that they also have the opportunity to eat the vegetables.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they like the vegetables that they grew better than the vegetables at the grocery store?
Yes, they do. We also participate in the fresh fruit and vegetable program, so they get snacks 3 days a week from that. And the whole crux of that program is to encourage them to try a variety of things. And quite honestly, they eat things sometimes that I won't eat. But they do like them, and they are willing to try. So far, we've harvested pumpkins, we've had potatoes, we've had a variety of vegetables. We also had a pineapple that we grew our own pineapple tree, and we had a pineapple, and the children loved it, but they weren't really aware that a pineapple came from a tree. But they have enjoyed that, and they love to tell you about it.
Excellent. Other comments or questions?
Just wonderful. I wish we could have it at all of our elementary schools. It'd be
We
wonderful.
thoroughly enjoy it.
Sounds like it. Great for the children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so very much, Ms. Agner and Ms. Logan and everybody. All the folks from E.A. Gibson Elementary School. That is super. All right. Let's see here. Next up will be the board developed last August what we call a working agreement. It was designed as a document that would reflect our goals and our intent on how we would function as individual members of the board and the board as a whole. And so here at the middle of the school year, thought it appropriate that we bring that back to our attention. So I'm going to read this, and then as we get to the list of items, we'll take them one at a time and see if any board members want to make any comments. This was originated August 7th at a retreat that we had, and then modified at our work session in August on the 17th. To ensure that the primary focus of the school board of Danville Public Schools is to create a learning environment that is in the best interest of all children, board members publicly commit to work individually and as a team in cooperation with the superintendent and administration to do the following. Number one, board members agree to focus on policy making and planning and evaluation rather than day-to-day operations of the school system, which will be left to the superintendent and his staff. Any board members care to comment on that first commitment that we made in August?
I think we've done that very well.
Okay. Dr. Jones, would you like to say anything?
I concur.
Okay. Very good. For those who may not be familiar with some of the terminology that we use in public education in Virginia, the other way to say this is that the school board is supposed to stay out of the weeds. We're supposed to be a kind of a high-level overall view of the operation of the school division and leave to the superintendent and the administration all the little daily details. Item number two, Board members and the superintendent agree to be truthful and fully disclose anything seen, heard, or felt that might be counterproductive to the functioning of Danville Public Schools. Any comments on that one? All right. Then number 3, board members and the superintendent agree to avoid reacting impulsively to issues and instead use adequate time and all available information to make informed decisions. Any comments there?
I think you've done a good job of that, too.
Okay. I will say that sometimes is one of the harder ones to do, because the natural inclination for folks who have to take on a public responsibility is we always want to fix things. And all too often, we want to fix things right now. And that's not always possible nor wise. So I hope that you are right, Ms. Hughes, that we're doing a pretty good job of not reacting so quickly to issues that are brought to our attention. All right, number 4, board members agree to be respectful in all communications with other board members and the superintendent, and refrain from making disparaging remarks. Any comments there? Okay. Now, number 5, board members and the superintendent agree to conduct themselves with integrity to ensure that all decisions are made in the best interest of all children. How about that one? Any comment there? All right, I know I have been very pleased at how frequently individual board members have mentioned what's in the best interest of all the children. That is a very, very important thing we have to keep in front of our minds constantly. All right, then number 6, board members agree to be punctual, professional in appearance and language, prepared to deal with issues, and consistent in making decisions that will continually improve Danville Public Schools. Any comments there? All right. So, this is not an action item, but do I sense that it's the will of the board that we will continue to abide by those 6, and we will evaluate ourselves on them periodically? Any other comments there? Dr. Jones? Anything from that?
I'm just happy to be here.
Yay. All right, well, thank you all for taking a moment to go through that. And we will now move to personnel recommendations from Human Resources. Dr. Juliet Jennings has some list for us.
Thank you, Dr. Polhamus, and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
If I might take a moment before I get into the personnel recommendations, we recognize career and technical ed tonight, and I just want the board to know that Ms. Rochford is very, very involved with the selection of staff for CTE, whether it's teachers or classified staff, and I didn't know if you were aware of that. Sometimes she might be a little more enthusiastic about these things than HR can allow, but she does, calm down and bring it back into legal parameters. But I really did think you should know that she's extremely hands-on with the selection of staff for CTE, because she wants the right person and the best person for the students who will be going through the program, whether it's middle or high school. I just want you to know.
Thank you.
That being said, we'll move on to the personnel recommendations, and I know you're surprised that tonight we have only 3. Well, if you remember, last time we had 2 pages, so this is just following 2 weeks ago. One thing I do want to point out is with the case ending in 03, this young lady sent in a revised letter of resignation. We put a copy in your red folder tonight. She is asking to change her effective date from the 15th to February 23rd. We did not get her letter until this had been posted to board docs. And we didn't want to create confusion by taking it off board docs and putting it back on. So I wanted to point that out as we were talking tonight. So when you approve the recommendations, we would ask that you do so with a February 23rd effective date for case ending in 03. With that, we would respectfully request your approval.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jennings. Are there questions for Dr. Jennings on the recommendations? All right, if not, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Dr. Campbell with a second from Ms. Hughes to approve the recommendations, including the February 23rd date, effective date in case 03. Everyone clear on the intent of the motion? All right, any discussion? All right, then, Ms. Petty, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Dr. Polhamus?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Ms. Stones?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
All right, as a follow-up to the mention of the CTE recruitment in which Ms. Rochford is so heavily involved, refresh our memories, or at least refresh mine, of the requirements to become a teacher in the career and technical areas.
It varies by the particular subject. For example, the baseline is that if you are seeking to become a teacher in auto body or culinary arts or the areas that are more trades, one does not actually have to have a bachelor's degree. The Department of Education will issue to you a technical professional license based on certainly having a high school diploma or its equivalent and your life's work. So whatever you've done as a profession counts toward that. It is a valid license, it's good for 5 years, and one has to renew it every 5 years as well by taking coursework and so forth. So that's one area. With the other areas, especially like with technology and so forth, one does have to have the collegiate professional or postgraduate professional license, meaning bachelor's degree or beyond. So it again depends on the specific area. And we always encourage people when we have postings to take a look. If you're interested, if you have the background, come talk to us, because we could work with you if you meet the basic qualifications.
Excellent. As we, as a board and as an administration, look at expanding or changing career and technical education offerings in our high schools, and even expand the career awareness things going on at the middle school level, I think it's going to be vitally important that we help spread the message throughout the community that individuals don't have to have graduated from college with a teaching-oriented degree to potentially teach at the high school or middle school level. There are ways, particularly in the career areas, where that career experience and the necessary licensure for the career is sufficient to have them in the classroom.
That's true.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else for Dr. Jennings? We thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, then let's see what we've got next. Ah, yes, the Memorandum of Understanding. First one is the Emergency Management Agreement. Dr. Dave Cochran will be coming to present that to us.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Danville Public Schools has been a longtime partner with the City of Danville in the area of emergency management. We are part of the city's emergency operation plan, and we routinely participate in drills associated with this plan. The partnership is mutually beneficial in marshaling the community's resources in the event of an emergency. I'm pleased to bring to you tonight a formal memorandum of understanding that illuminates the parameters for our joining in the Emergency Operation Plan partnership. It sets forth for the first time what for us must be a guiding principle. And I quote from the document, "Those resources held by Danville Public Schools will be made available as rapidly as possible without endangering the care, welfare, safety, and security of the students or employees of Danville Public Schools." The memorandum of understanding before you tonight has been vetted by the Danville Fire Department and by our school board attorney, and I respectfully request your approval.
You have heard the presentation by Dr. Cochran on this memorandum of understanding with emergency management. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the memorandum of understanding.
Was that a second there, Dr. Campbell? Okay. So we have a motion from Mr. Gould with a second from Dr. Campbell to approve this memorandum of understanding. Is there any discussion? All right, then, Ms. Petty, please call the roll.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Dr. Polhamus?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Thank you. And now, Dr. Cochran, please continue with another memorandum of understanding.
This one regards the Danville Police Department. The School Resource Officer Program is a vital part of our school division's division-wide security plan. The 5 officers that work in our schools daily are sworn law enforcement employed by the Danville Police Department. These officers serve on the basis of a partnership between Danville Public Schools and Danville Police Department. As recommended by the Department of Criminal Justice Services and as required by best practice, this partnership should be guided by a formal memorandum of understanding. To this end, I bring you such an MOU, which has been vetted by our police department and by our school board attorney, and respectfully request your approval.
Are there any questions for Dr. Cochran on the second memorandum of agreement? All right, then what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the memorandum of understanding the police department.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Hall with a second from Ms. Hughes to approve the memorandum of understanding with the police department. Any discussion on the motion?
I just think I appreciate how thorough this document is. It's going to be very beneficial. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, then please call the roll.
Dr. Polhamus?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Very good. And then we have a third agreement, this one with the Red Cross relative to sheltering in emergencies for disasters. So, Dr. Cochran, please continue.
In the aforementioned emergency operations plan for the city of Danville, we are not alone in partnering with the city. Numerous other agencies partner with the city as well. One such agency is the American Red Cross, and I think we are all familiar with the work of the Red Cross. Within the city's emergency operation plan, the Red Cross has been enlisted to manage the care given to persons that seek shelter in the event of a disaster or emergency. 2 of our school sites are designated shelters, the Bonner Gymnasium and the Dr. Howard Hank Allen Gymnasium at Langston. These sites were specifically chosen because they could be isolated from the remainder of the school campus so that school could be conducted if necessary under near normal conditions. The Red Cross requires, and we strongly concur, that a formal agreement will guide the 2 partners of the city emergency operation plan in conducting business in a harmonious, safe, and equitable manner. The proposed agreement originated with the Red Cross and has been vetted by our school board attorney. I respectfully request your adoption of the shelter agreement presented to you.
Are there questions for Dr. Cochran on this agreement about emergency sheltering? Yes, Mr. Gould.
Mr. Chairman, not a question, but just a thanks to Dr. Cochran for the inclusion of the insurance and indemnification provisions. Those were exactly what I was looking for, and they're here. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? All right, this is an action item. What is your pleasure?
Chair, move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Dr. Campbell with a second from Mr. Gould to approve this agreement with the American Red Cross. Any discussion? All right, Ms. Petty, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Dr. Polhamus?
Yes. Thank you very much. At this point, I believe we're ready for board comments, unless I have overlooked something. And we will start, as always, with the Assistant City Attorney, Mr. Alan Spencer.
I don't have any comments.
Okay, then we'll move to our superintendent and give him double time. Dr. Jones.
Good evening. I'm shocked that, I actually have several. First, just regarding the working agreement with the board, I think that we have worked very effectively as a team of 8, which is what we all set out to do. And when I made the remark earlier about the fact that I'm happy to be here, I think that's genuine. Valentine's is the month of love. I love being in Danville. Matter of fact, I was going to ask Ms. Agner, why don't we sell roses in our greenhouse? So, look into it. Certainly, I want to thank our clerks. I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with these lovely ladies to really keep me in line more than anything else. So thank you for your hard work. Our counselors, we're living in a very interesting time. So the things that our counselors do to support the needs of our students are certainly worth mentioning. Black History Month, there are a number of events in our schools, and I strongly encourage the public to participate. The event on Monday at GW is Johnson's Black History Month event, which I understand is a very well-attended event. You're encouraged to get there early. It starts at 6, but you're encouraged to get there probably about an hour before it begins. Also want to recognize, we have 4 students that just signed full scholarships at George Washington High School. It's the first time in a number of years we've had those students, we've had that number of students who've had the opportunity to represent their community and receive a full scholarship. Tim Glass is going to NC State. Curtis Brooks is going to University of Cincinnati. Donald Smith is attending Hampton University. And Malik Henderson is attending North Carolina Central University. National Day of Signing was yesterday. I wasn't able to participate in that, but want to really congratulate those young men and their families and emphasize to the public they're student athletes. The student part of it, I think that they're well prepared to move forward. I want to thank our HR department for the health screenings. I did have an opportunity to participate in that. They took my blood pressure, and when I talked about Danville Public Schools, my blood pressure went down. So the health screening is certainly something that we want to promote. I want to congratulate our maintenance department for representing us so well with regard to that. And then the MOUs, certainly we want to put ourselves in a position when it comes to an emergency to make sure we're well prepared for it. So thank Dr. Cochran for his leadership, and we are more than happy to partner with the police department, the Emergency Operations Center, and the Red Cross. Hopefully we don't have to implement those services anytime soon, but certainly we want to be prepared for that in the case that it occurs. And I think that's all the things I want to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now will you call the members of the board, please?
Ms. Bryant?
I would like to reiterate what our good superintendent said, because there's just so much to go around. It would be hard to mention without leaving somebody out. So thank you for such a thorough list. I appreciate that. I want to thank all of our staff and teachers for everything they do for our children, because that is why we are here, and our children need us each and every minute of each and every day. So thank you very much.
Dr. Campbell?
I want to say just a couple of things. I thought that maybe, Dr. Jones, you would have possibly said something about the business honor roll, which I think is an excellent thing to happen. And I also would like to mention that February the 23rd, the Sounds of Soul, George Washington's choir, will be performing O.T. Bonner on the 23rd. And I'm sure you will not be disappointed. I would also, I think, be remiss if I did not commend the young man that's here, Taekwon. Thank you, sir, for all that you are doing to make our students better. In regard to at Woodbury, do you want to say anything about that, or you just want me to keep talking? It's the African Boys Club, am I right? And you're looking for some volunteers, am I right? Would you please put my name down? So I'll be more than glad to assist you in anything I can do. Thank you for all that you are doing. Last but not least, I want to say that 2 weeks ago I was in Brooklyn, New York. And I will tell you, if I never ever go to New York again, it would be too soon. And flew into LaGuardia and was there for just one day. But what stood out in my mind is there was snow everywhere, and schools didn't shut down. I saw the bus sliding, and it seemed like they had no sensitivity to their students. And I want to say that, you know, we had this so-called blizzard, and I think that it is commendable to the staff that we were sensitive to students and did not want any kind of accidents, and you certainly informed us and kept us informed about that. We did not want to have any kind of situations with the buses, students, and so we are sensitive, and we put children first, not only children, but staff and all that are part of DPS. And so I understood what we were doing, but I understood it better after I left New York, because nothing shut down. And so I think that was so commendable, and I would say also the city council, everything that they did to make sure that we were safe and all that was well during that time of 18 to 24 inches of snow. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Gould?
I want to follow up on what Dr. Campbell was saying, just to thank our maintenance and transportation staffs for all they did to keep all of our students and staff safe during the aftermath of the storm. I can't imagine how hard folks worked, and we were able to get back in a very quick fashion into the normal routine, and we're grateful for everything they did. I want to thank Gateway for the work that it's done with the health screenings. I don't think I've ever heard trash talking with wellness screenings quite like we did tonight, but I like it. We're on the right track. And I got back into town about 5 o'clock tonight. I had been in Richmond yesterday afternoon and this morning with 6 of our students from GW and Galileo, and I was not the chaperone. I was not the chaperone. I was there with 6 of our students and 3 of our current teachers and 1 of our retired teachers, observing state government in action, observing the legislative process, and the group has represented us well. We were in a meeting with Governor McAuliffe this morning, and one of our students ran through for the governor all 10 of the colleges that he has been accepted into, and it was a great conversation, and hopefully we can get those young men and women in front of us at one of our future meetings. But our thanks go out to Delegate Marshall for hosting the group and for showing a lot of hospitality, and that's all I've got.
Mrs. Hall?
I would like to thank everyone for coming tonight. I know many of you have had long days, so whenever you all come and support Danville Public Schools, I'm so appreciative. Secondly, I just want to mention, a big thank you for those who put together the community partnership meeting. That was held right here in the Danville Room on February 1st. Those individuals would be Dr. Cochran and Wesson Claiborne Felder. I had the privilege to attend this event with Mrs. Jones, and Dr. Polhamus was there, and we also had two of our councilmen present who really was actively engaged in many of the discussions. So I want to send out a thank you publicly to Alonzo Jones and John Gilstrap, and to those agencies that sent representatives. It just was a true testament to their willingness to work with Danville Public Schools to find those interventions early for those children that face such challenges, day-to-day challenges. So I'm very appreciative of that. Also, the winners for the health screening, in particular the maintenance department, very proud of you. And thank you to our school board clerks for all you do for us every day and for Danville Public Schools, our school counselors, and then last but not least, my fellow board members. Thank you for all your hard work on behalf of the children of Danville Public Schools. And I also want to mention publicly that my thoughts and my prayers have been with Dr. Randolph Neal's family, and I will continue to pray for a speedy recovery for him and that he will return back to his lovely family very soon. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Hughes?
I think along those lines, I would dare speak for the board in saying that we continue to hope and pray for a healing of the community and for unity to be fostered even at times like this. Congratulations to Mr. Graves and all that you've been doing. And we know that thanks to Mona Whittle, I just want you to know that I have become keenly aware of every recognition that is going on for the rest of this year. And tomorrow is National Wear Red Day. Just want to remind everybody of that. But also February is National Children's Dental Health Month. Also Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. Also, it is the February 7th through 14th is Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week. But most importantly, February 8th through 12th is Random Acts of Kindness Week. So I want everyone to be sure to take advantage of that. Have a good day.
Ms. Jones?
I'd like to echo everything everybody has said. Thank all the presenters for the respective recognitions they did tonight for the month of February. And I always love E.A. Gibson. And the pictures were just awesome. Thank Dr. Jones for relaying positive information coming out of GW, because so often we hear so much negative. So thank him for letting us know about our students, and many of you may have saw their pictures in the newspaper. I have to always mention Dr. Cochran. Dr. Cochran is my hero. You never hear a whole lot out of him. I had a parent last week talk about GW, and I said, well, have you been over there lately? And I challenged the person to go over just to see how things had changed. And the bet was lunch, and I won. The parent came back and talked about how she could not believe how things had changed in less than 45 days at GW. She talked about when she went down the hallway, she did not see the chaos that she saw. I think she said she was there in December, but she said she didn't see that chaos. She has 2 children at GW, and she left me with, she feels safe for her children at GW. And I think that a large part of that we owe to Dr. Cochran, so I just want to tell him thank you. Thank Taekwon for being here tonight. He's always a pleasure to see. And thank all the parents and students, and especially the entire DPS staff. Thanks for all you do.
Dr. Polhamus?
I would echo all of the wonderful things that my colleagues have said this evening. And I want to mention something that I noticed on the internet last night that made me just about jump up and down and scream for joy. One house of the General Assembly has already passed a bill and sent it to the other house that would provide local control of school calendars. Now they put, we've been fighting so hard with our colleagues around the Commonwealth to get that accomplished, and it looks like this might actually be the year. Now, they did have to put some stipulations in there, so if I'm reading it right, there's a potential for a 5-day weekend around Labor Day as the compromise, but I think we can work with that just to have some local control. That will be wonderful to see. I also had a beautiful opportunity earlier this week to spend much of the morning over at W.W. Moore with the students in the various pods over there. I had been invited back in late January to speak on their character trait of the month, which was self-discipline. But the snowstorm kind of prevented that from happening as originally planned, and they invited me back yesterday to follow through on that. Had a great visit with all of those young people and our special educators who really have a sense of calling to be in that place, trying to help keep the students on track educationally, even as the rest of their lives might be falling apart around the edges. So that was a wonderful day. And then finally, wanted to make sure that you understand I didn't just wear the red tie because tomorrow is National Wear Red Day. I was looking forward to February 14th. And some of you might have heard my holiday wish list and my resolution for the new year. So I will be celebrating in a special way on February 14th, giving to my lovely wife the kind of attention she deserves for putting up with me and supporting me in what I have chosen to do here. So I hope everyone can find their Valentine that day and spend some good quality time. Thank you all so very much.
I move that this meeting of the School Board of the City of Danville, Virginia be recessed for 10 minutes.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Hall and a second from Mr. Gould to take a recess for 10 minutes. Any discussion on that motion? All right, then please call the roll.
Dr. Campbell?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Gould?
Yes.
Dr. Polhamus?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yeah.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
That's the fear.